Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining. Sunil here. Can you hear me? Please confirm in the chat box. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your responses. Thank you very much for your responses. Okay. Thank you. Let's stop the chat. Let us stop the chat. I'm getting a lot of information. I'm getting a lot of requests that there are many people who are still not part of WhatsApp group. Am I right? If you are not part of WhatsApp group of this particular branch, okay, please join the WhatsApp group using the WhatsApp group link, which I'm just sharing now in the chat box. Please do not join duplicate groups. If there are participants who are not in the WhatsApp group, please join the WhatsApp group using the link which I'm just shared now in the chat box. Using this particular link, which I have just shared in the chat box, if you are not part of the WhatsApp group, then please join so that you get the updates related to this particular batch. Okay, thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Okay. What's our agenda for today's session? Today's agenda is to understand the concept of load balancer. What's our plan for today's session? Our plan for today's session is to understand the concept of load balancer. In the last session, we already have experienced the concept of web server. Do you remember what did we discussed in the last session? We had 3 days of break because of the festival and the weekend. I hope you have clearly understood about the concept of a web server. A web server is nothing but a EC2 machine. Is nothing but a simple EC2 machine where web package is installed, isn't it? It's up to us how to install. We already have learned how to install web server 1. We have created a simple hello page. So from our personal laptop, when you send a request using the EC2 machine IP address, the web server will take the request. In response, you get the web page. We already have discussed about the concept of web server. Clear about this? In the last session, we already have discussed about web server. Today's session is all about next step to web server, that is called as a load balancer. All the clients use this concept of load balancer to avoid the downtime. All the clients, they don't want their applications to go down, to avoid the downtime, so they use the concept of load balancer. Have you seen any time Facebook going down? Have you seen any time Twitter down? Instagram down? Amazon shopping site, Amazon.in, the Flipkart, do you think anytime is it down? Okay, so these applications will not. Have you seen any downtime in Netflix? We all watch Netflix, right? Have you seen any downtime? Have you seen any experience where Netflix is not accessible? Have you seen any time Amazon Prime down? Not at all. If a client won't want any downtime in their applications, they have to use the concept of load balancer. That's what we are experiencing in today's session. In today's session, we are learning what is a load balancer, what exactly the job done by the load balancer. We'll practically see how to create a load balancer and how to attach the EC2 machines to the load balancer. We'll experience the load balancer. We'll simulate a failover scenario. So this is our plan for our today's session. Today, we are starting one of the most important topic of the course. That's called as load balancer. Today's session and tomorrow's session. Tomorrow's topic is auto scaling. Both are used together. Today, we will be experiencing the concept of load balancing. So as usual, before getting into the topic of the today's session, let's have quick interaction. As usual, before getting into the concepts of today's session, let's have a quick interaction. Narendra Kumar, how are you doing? You're from which location? P. Narendra Kumar, I can see your hand raised. You have to unmute and talk. Any questions, please? If you're not having any questions, please do not raise your hand. Sunil Achyuta, how are you doing, Sunil?
Hey Sunil, good morning. I'm
Good
doing
morning.
well.
Thank you. You're from which location?
I'm from United States.
Okay. Yes. Your question, please.
And thanks for the class. And the main question, the first question is this is not the technical question, Sunil. So where can I get the videos? When you say
Are you
videos,
in
is
the
it?
WhatsApp group?
Yes, I am in the WhatsApp group.
Okay. The live training is free, but if you want the recordings, you need to pay a nominal amount of 999 rupees.
I understand that, but where can I mean, how to
We already
get
have
that?
posted the PayPal link in the WhatsApp group. Okay. Anyways, we'll
Because
do it
I
again.
think, yeah, sure, please.
We'll
I
do it again.
joined recently. Yeah.
Participants who are from India, they can make the payment using the payment link. Participant outside India, they can make the payment using the PayPal. It is just $16. If you pay $16 or Indian rupees 999, you get all the recordings right from first day to last day. Okay.
Can I
Am I
ask a
clear?
question here? So when you
Yes.
said recordings, are these recordings with the current session, the
Yeah,
current
this side
training?
today, 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock,
So
the session ends, right? As per India
okay,
time.
so how can I
Once
get the previous trainings? Because if I wanted to complete this course in a week or something,
you
so I
want
would like to.
to complete your course at your own pace, okay, isn't it? So we have one batch which is already completed 1 month back, Sunil. Instead of buying the current batch recordings, what you can do, you can buy the old batch recordings at a set.
That's true. That's what I was required. I am
Okay.
looking for.
Okay. You please send an email, Sunil.
Sure.
Please take a note of it.
Yeah. I'm ready to take the notes. Okay.
I already have sent the email in the chat box also.
Sure.
Support at logiclabstech.com. You send an email saying that you are interested to buy old batch videos. Okay, our team will respond you with some payment link. Proceed with the payment. You can get the old batch videos. Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Anything more, Sunil? Is this your first session?
No, I've been attending since last 3 sessions, but
okay.
I couldn't get time to talk to you. I mean,
okay.
Because of the
Thank you, Sunil. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks
I
a
hope
lot.
you will enjoying the training. Thank you.
Perfectly. Yeah. Thank you.
Bhagwan Sikandar.
Yeah, good morning, Sunil.
Good morning, Bhagwan.
Yeah, I'm from Bangalore.
Yeah.
So appreciate your help for conducting this training. The question I have for you is, last time you demonstrated on how to connect a Linux machine. So every time when we stop the instance and when we start it, the username, is there any change in it?
Username does not, no change. It remains the same.
It remains the same.
Okay.
Okay.
By the way, any specific reason why are you checking whether the username is getting changed or not?
Say if there is any requirement, say from client, say asking you need 10 systems, you just provide them 10 systems.
Okay.
So yeah, and we cannot stop and restart the instance, right?
Yes. Now, Bhagwan, here what we have done immediately after the session, last session, what we have done, we have stopped the instance, isn't it, Bhagwan?
Yeah.
Okay, because to save the bill, because we are having a free tier account to have limitations, so we have stopped the bill. But in the real time, instances will never be stopped, isn't it? It will be running 24/7, 365 days. So you will not encounter these kind of scenarios. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Bhagwan.
Yeah.
I hope I'm clear.
Yes, you are clear.
Okay. Anything more, Bhagwan? Any more questions?
Nothing so far.
You know AWS, or is it the first time you're learning?
Yeah, I worked on it, but no hands-on experience.
Okay.
So far so good.
Thank you. Thank you, Bhagwan. Farheen Sara. Good morning.
Good morning, Sunil. Am I audible?
You are audible and very clear. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yes, your question.
Thanks a lot for conducting this session. It's really helpful. Provided I was very curious to know what happens in the backend whenever we contact an IT team for the help. So basically,
now I hope you are visualizing how exactly the backend IT team provides provisioning the infrastructure as per the needs, isn't it?
Exactly. So it's quite interesting. So I never
This
want
is
to miss
just a
it.
beginning. There's much more long way to go. That will be much more interesting for him. Okay.
Sure, sure. Thanks. Looking forward for it. So Sunil, I belong to testing department. I have 7 years of experience into software testing. So is there any sort of scope that will help me, get into this world of AWS and somewhere get connected to
If
testing
you
as
are
well?
planning, like many others, if you're planning to shift your technology from the current testing
Uh-huh.
to the cloud industry, cloud domain, I
Mm-hmm.
strongly recommend you to learn one more additional course called as DevOps. Okay.
All right.
The combination of AWS and DevOps is doing very good in the market. So once you acquire the AWS skills as well as the DevOps skills, okay, you have to project a 2 years of experience in this AWS and DevOps. Okay. If you say that you have just learned AWS and DevOps, you will not get the calls for him. I hope you are understanding. You have to project that you have minimum 2 to 2.5 years of experience in AWS and DevOps. Okay, so once you're strong in the subject, you'll understand. I'll show you some sample resumes. You will understand how exactly you can pick up the points from your sample resumes. Prepare your resumes. We also conduct regular project sessions. We already have completed 3 project sessions. You can showcase this project as your experience, and then that will be helpful you to smooth migration of your current existing domain to the cloud latest one, the AWS and DevOps. Okay.
All right, Sunil. There's another part of it. So will AWS help me in the existing department, Diamond?
In case if you are from the testing team, so in
Yeah.
case if your client is on AWS, if the client maintains infrastructure on AWS, so one point of other, you will have an exposure, you will get an opportunity to connect to AWS, or in fact talk to AWS teams with respect to testing scenarios. So
All right.
definitely this knowledge will also help you if you want to stick to the current domain also.
All right.
Okay,
All right.
but
Yeah, yeah.
still I recommend you to go to AWS and DevOps, but finally it's up to you. You can stick to the existing technology, or learning AWS is always good.
True. Yeah, yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Farhin. You're there right from day one, or Farhin, is this your
No, I actually was the day one classes, but then I was from the day two, and I've
okay?
checked the recordings for the day one. Yeah.
Thank you,
Pretty
Farhin.
much clear.
Are you in the WhatsApp group?
Yes, I am. I am.
Okay, thank you, Farhin.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I hope you know many participants are raising their hand. Our primary agenda is to focus on the device schedule. So our plan is to work out with the concept of load balancer. So let's start this particular example. In this session, we are going ahead and experiencing the concept of load balancer. Okay. Now, before going ahead to experience the concept of load balancer, I want to give you a simple scenario. This is a web server. Client is nothing but the end user who is accessing the application. So if you are accessing Facebook, you are the client. Clients are nothing but end users. If you are opening Facebook, if you're logging into Facebook, you are the client. So don't worry about the technical jargons. Clients are nothing but the end users. So when end user access an application, something like facebook.com from the Google Chrome, they open the browser and they access the application using the domain name facebook.com. What happens? The request will go to web server. We already have experienced this, no doubt on this. The request will go to web server. In response, we get a web page. That's what happens. Agree? Yes. Sometimes when the traffic increases, when there are hundreds and thousands of users connecting to the same application, when the traffic increases, this particular web server is finally an EC2 machine. Every EC2 machine can withhold a limited amount of traffic. Every EC2 machine will have a threshold limit. It cannot process unlimited users or unlimited requests. Agree or not? Finally, a EC2 machine is nothing but a specific hardware. Every EC2 machine can withstand a specific load. There will be some threshold limit depending upon the configuration of the hardware. If it is 16 GB, okay, you can get a number of requests. If it is 32 GB, every machine will have its own threshold limit. But the traffic increases enormously. The web server will not process the unexpected traffic. So what happens? The server goes down. When server goes down, obviously user will not get the page. One quick example we generally experience when we are accessing, not now, probably 2-3 years back, when we are accessing irctc.com. When you want to book your tickets, especially on Tatkal time, the huge number of traffic accessing the web server. At that time, every web server can withstand a withhold can withstand a specific limit. When the limit exceeds, obviously the server goes down. So how to avoid the downtime? To avoid the downtime, here we come across one more layer called as a load balancer. Today we'll be experiencing the concept of load balancer. What we'll do, we'll create a load balancer. Okay, behind the load balancer, there will be multiple EC2 machines. Okay, I'll be creating 2 EC2 machines. Now, what the load balancer will do, load balancer will receive the traffic. In the previous scenario, directly EC2 machine is receiving the traffic. Now, as we are introducing a new component called load balancer will receive the traffic, and load balancer will distribute the traffic to the existing infrastructure. Rather than completely dumping the load to one particular web server, rather than completely dumping the load, sending the load directly to one web server, what happens? Load balancer will receive the traffic. Load balancer will receive the traffic, and load balancer will distribute the traffic to underlying infrastructure, that is web servers. Okay, so the responsibility of the load balancer is receiving the traffic and distribute the traffic to the web servers. Okay, so that the web server the complete load will not be taken by one web server. There will be multiple web servers so that the load is evenly distributed. You can avoid the downtime. So let's try to understand what AWS says with respect to concept of load balancer. Look at this. Load balancer will accept the incoming traffic from the clients. Clients are nothing but the users like you and me who are accessing the application, something like netflix.com, facebook.com. We are the clients. So load balancer will accept the incoming traffic from the clients and route the request to the EC2 instances. Obviously, finally, the load balancer will distribute the request to the EC2 instances. These EC2 instances are also called as targets. These EC2 machines are also called as targets. If anybody talking about targets are nothing but the EC2 machines behind the load balancer. So that's the first responsibility. In the interview, if anybody want to ask you about load balancer, there are 2 points you need to focus with respect to load balancer. In the interview, if anybody asks you about load balancer, you have to discuss about 2 points. Point number 1, as the name suggests, load balancer will receive the incoming traffic from the clients and distribute the traffic to the targets. That's the first point. That's the first responsibility of the load balancer. Load balancer is also having one more responsibility. Load balancer is also having one more responsibility. What is the second responsibility of the load balancer? Load balancer should also monitor the health of the target. Load balancer should monitor the health of the targets. That means load balancer should regularly check, hello, my dear target 1, are you working fine or not? Are you perfectly responding or not? Load balancer should monitor the second EC2 machine. Hello, how are you EC2 machine? Are you perfectly working on it? It should regularly monitor the health of the targets, not just distributing. Distributing is the main important task. The second task is load balancer should also monitor the health. That's also important. And that ensures that the traffic is routed to healthy targets only. When a load balancer detects as unhealthy, assuming if one machine is not healthy, the problem could be hardware failure, the problem could be network latency, the problem could be ports, whatever it is. If a load balancer detects that particular EC2 machine is not healthy, it's not properly responding, load balancer will detect that particular EC2 machine is not healthy, and then it stops the traffic to that particular target and resumes. It will not, obviously the new traffic will not be diverted to unhealthy traffic. The new traffic will be diverted to healthy traffic again. As one particular machine is not healthy, load balancer will not distribute to unhealthy targets. It only distributes to the healthy targets. Let's say once as an AWS engineer, you will fix that particular issue. As an AWS engineer, you have fixed this particular issue. Now your target is perfectly responding. Again, load balancer will start distributing to the healthy EC2 machines. So that's very important. Then it resumes routing the traffic to the target when it detects the healthy again. So there are 2 responsibilities of the load balancer. Just a quick recap. The first responsibility of the load balancer is load balancer will receive the traffic from the clients and distributes the traffic to the targets. That is the first responsibility. The second responsibility of the load balancer is load balancer should regularly monitor the health of the targets. It should also monitor the health of the target. If one particular machine is detected as unhealthy, if it is not responding, load balancer should distribute the traffic to the remaining healthy targets. Okay, so that's monitoring the health is the second responsibility. These are the 2 points you need to focus when attending about the interview with respect to load balancer. Okay. Okay. So let's work out practically how can we experience this concept of load balancer. If you want to experience the load balancer, it's a 3-step process. Step 1, we'll create a first EC2 machine. Agree? The first machine. We already know how to create a EC2 machine, how to install a web package. We already know it. Step 2, we'll create a second EC2 machine. Second EC2 machine, we already do it. And step 3 is very important. What we'll do, the final component, we'll create a load balancer. Step 3, what we'll do, step 1, we'll create first EC2 machine. Step 2, we'll create second EC2 machine. Step 3 is important. We'll create a load balancer. We'll attach the EC2 machines to the load balancer. We will create a load balancer. We attach the EC2 machines to the load balancer. Step 3 is something new. Step 1, step 2, we already have discussed in the last session. And step 3, we create a load balancer. We attach the EC2 machines from the load balancer, and then we will experience. We'll divert the traffic. We'll route the traffic to the load balancer. Load balancer will receive the traffic and respond to the targets. That's it. Agree? Step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 3 is important. This is something new for us. We are learning how to create a load balancer, and we'll be experiencing soon how exactly load balancer will distribute the targets to the EC2 machines. That's it. Okay. So that's a step-by-step process. I hope I'm very clear what we are planning to do. Let's proceed and go ahead and create step-by-step process. So first step, let's create an EC2 machine. We install a web server. It's something like what we have discussed in the previous session. Participants who have missed the previous session, or participants who are not participants who have missed the previous sessions, this will be a quick recap, because we are doing the same thing what we have discussed in the previous session. We will be creating an EC2 machine. We will be installing HTTPD package, and we'll make it as a web server. So let's proceed with the practicals. Log into AWS. I already have an AWS account. I hope you all created the AWS account. If you're not created, please go ahead and please create it. The landing page is called as AWS Management Console, where we can see collection of services. We are now dealing with the first service called as an EC2. Go to instances. So do not worry about the existing instances. So how many instances? We have close to 8 instances. Do not worry about the existing instances. 1 minute, please. Okay. So do not worry about the existing 8 instances. Let's proceed and create a first instance. I want to create a web server. We already know how to create a web server. What port needs to be open? What ports? If you want to connect to this EC2 machine with respect to PuTTY, you need to open SSH port. And in case if your browser needs to communicate, we need to open HTTP port. So ports opening should be done with respect to security groups. Okay, so why be creating an Amazon machine instance? And I want to name the security group as Linux SG 13 is the name of the security group which I want to create. Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and create the first EC2 machine. Launch instances. Amazon Linux. T2 micro instance, which comes with 1 GB RAM and 1 CPU. How many number of instances? I want to create only 1 instance as of now. This instance comes with 8 GB of storage. I want to tag it later. Next, security group. Provide a name to the security group. The name of the security group is Linux SG13. Okay, with today's date 13. So Linux SG13 is the name of the security group. What ports I'm opening? SSH port as well as HTTP port I'm opening. SSH port and HTTP port I'm opening. The name of the security group is Linux SG13. Okay, click on review, click on launch. It will ask you to download a key pair. I hope remember. My dear friends, I hope you remember. It will ask you to download a key pair. Where I want to download my key pair. I want to download it in my desktop. I think we have created a folders. Okay. I've created a folder with the name Sunil AWS. So in this location, I want to download my key pair. Fine. Review and launch. Click on launch. Create a new key pair. I want to name it as. I want to name it as web KP13. Any name can be anything. Download the key pair in my desktop. Sunil AWS. I'm downloading the key pair. Launch instances. Linux security group 13 is already existing. Okay. Back. Previous. The name of the security group is already existing, so I'm writing it as Linux SG. Tomorrow's date 14. Let's see. To avoid confusion, I'm creating a new key pair, web key pair 14. Launch instances. View instances. Server 1. Or I'll write it as machine 1 to be more clear. Okay. This is just a Linux machine. Agree? This is just a Linux machine. So I'll be connecting to this Linux machine using putty, and I will be installing HTTPD package, and I'll be make this particular machine as a web server. So if you want to connect using putty, the first thing what I'll do is to convert the PEM file to PPK file. WebKP14 is a PEM file. I need to convert to PPK file. I hope you know how to convert the PEM file to PPK file by using a tool called as puttigen load desktop. WebKP14. Save private key. PPK file. Converted PEM file to PPK file. So I'll be connecting using a tool called as putty. This to this machine, click on connect. Pick up username @DNS. Under SSH, under authentication, mention where exactly your PPK file is available in my desktop. WebKP14 is a PPK file. I have successfully connected. Yes, not just connecting, I will be installing a web package. We already have the commands with us, which helps you to make it as a web package. Switch to root user. Whenever you want to install any package, you have to update the repository. Fine. Install HTTPD is the name of the package. Install. Next, I go to the HTML directory. CD stands for change directory. Creating minimum one web page to experience, that is index.html. And what is the content I'm writing? My Google 1. In the first web server, content is my Google one, and then I want to start this particular web package. And this is the configuration command which helps you to start whenever you start the EC2 machine. This web server, this machine one is now a web server. Now web server will take the request and response. It will deliver the web pages. Okay. So step one is done. Now can we access the web server? I hope we should able to access the first machine, take the public IP of the first machine. And not only me, anybody in the world can access the web server, my Google one. This is what we have done it in the last session. Okay. So next step, what I have to do, step one is completed. We have created the first EC2 machine. I'll be creating second EC2 machine. This is step two. I'll be creating a second EC2 machine. The second EC2 machine is something like a web server only, nothing special. Okay. But I create this second EC2 machine, a different process, different approach, a little bit different approach. Are you understanding? The second EC2 machine, I'll create it in a different way. Try to understand. I'll be explaining you the concept of bootstrap scripts. I'll be explaining you the concept of bootstrap scripts in the first machine, which I've just now created. In the first machine just now, which I have created, this one. I hope you understood how did I create the machine. Very simple. First, I have created an EC2 machine. It's a 7-step process. I have downloaded a key pair using the putty. I have connected to that particular EC2 machine, and I have executed this set of commands in the putty, right? These are the set of commands I have connected to the EC2 machine and using the putty, and I have executed this set of commands so that the machine is now converted to web server. Fine. But the second EC2 machine also I want to do the same thing, but in a different approach. Try to experience the second EC2 machine. Launch one more EC2 machine. Launch instances. We are creating a second EC2 machine. I'm going with same Amazon Linux. Obviously T2 micro instance. Step 3, I'm a number of machines. What I want is creating only one machine. That's fine. But here in step 3, scroll down. Under advanced details. Under advanced details. Can you see under user data? I mentioned these commands. These commands are called as bootstrap scripts. In step 3, under advanced details, under user data, I will be mentioning these commands. The same commands which I have connected and executed using putty. First, I go to switch to root user. I'll update the repository, install HTTPD, go to that HTML directory, creating index.html, starting the service HTTP. The same commands which I have executed using putty, the same commands I'm writing it in the user data. This means in this particular machine, I don't need to exclusively connect to putty and run the commands. These are called as bootstrap scripts. This scripts gets executed automatically when the machine is started. These scripts are called as bootstrap scripts. Whatever you mention it under advanced details, user data, these are called as bootstrap scripts. The bootstrap scripts gets executed automatically whenever a machine is started. So I don't need to again manually connect to using putty and run the commands. I'm installing the HTTPD in this particular package. So that's very important. And one important point, as these, you have to explicitly mention that these are the commands. It's not a normal text file. The EC2 machine should understand that these are nothing but the commands. So you have to clearly mention that this is bash command. That means it should run it on the shell. So you have to include this particular line. Okay, to understand this, these are not just normal text. These are nothing but the shell commands. Clear about this? Perfect. So, so I'm done. So bootstrap scripts. So I hope you are very clear. Those are called as bootstrap scripts. Quick information about the bootstrap scripts is also mentioned in the notes. Whenever you launch an EC2 machine, you have an option of passing user data, which you're just now, to the instance so that it can perform configure common configuration tasks. So whenever I want to start a machine, I want this configuration task to be executed automatically by itself. So that's the reason I have created bootstrap scripts. Okay. Next. Fine. And one more important point, in the second web server, I'm writing it as my Google 2. The first web server, the content, I'm writing it as my Google 1. The second web server, wantedly, I'm preparing a different content called my Google 2. Next. Storage. Next. Tags. Next. Security group. You can use an existing security group. The name of the security group is WebSG14, I think so. With today's date, isn't it? What is the name of the security group? Linux SG14. Am I right? Let's verify. Linux SG13 was not working, so Linux SG14 was what we have renamed it. I'm using an existing security group, Linux SG14. Same ports will be open, review and launch. Click on launch. I can go ahead and create a new key pair. Web KPI, I can write it as 15. I download my key pair. Launch instances. Hands-on is very important. You need to practice view instances. This is machine 2. Agree? This is machine 2. Okay. So I don't need to connect to the second machine using putty, and I don't need to run the commands explicitly because I already have mentioned those commands in the bootstrap scripts. Those commands get executed automatically. So I have created first machine. I have made it as a web server. I have created second machine. I have made it as a web server. Step 1, step 2 is done. We are done with step 1 and step 2. The next step, what we need to do is to most important point, the new thing what we are learning, that's called as a load balancer. Now we'll be learning about how to create a load balancer. Okay. So before getting on to the step 3, let's have quick interaction. Gajendra Reddy. Good morning, Gajendra. How are you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
Doing well, Gajendra. Your question, please.
Yeah, thanks for providing Amazon training was very good, and we're getting a good opportunity to learn the new platform.
Thank
Actually, I'm have around 10 plus year experience in security domain.
you. Security.
Past year, so yeah. So
You mean to say cyber security?
Yeah, cyber security. Yeah. So
Okay.
recent past days, our customers are moving to the AWS,
Oh,
and
wow.
also we're deploying our firewalls to the AWS
So it's good
cloud.
opportunity, Gajendra. You are getting
Yeah.
automatically exposure towards AWS with the help of your client.
Yeah. Yes.
Take the best opportunity. Mhm.
That's what I'm highlighting. And the first classes I missed to attend this class. So anyway, on the WhatsApp group I'm available. So is it
Okay.
possible to share that first day recording to
The first 3
go through that?
recording, day 1, day 2, day 3, the first 3 recordings are already shared in the WhatsApp group. Okay. Gajendra, when did you join the WhatsApp group?
I think day 2 I joined.
Okay, day 1 recording.
Day 2.
That's already there in the
Yeah.
WhatsApp group. We already have shared it. Please look at that, Gajendra. Okay.
Okay, I'll just cross
Day
check
1,
this.
day 2, day 3 are already shared in the WhatsApp group. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Anything more specific to
Thank
this example? Any technical
you.
questions?
All good so
Okay.
far, Sunil. So it's good
Thank you.
and well understanding our training.
Thank you.
Thanks very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you, Gajendra. Obaid Rahman. Good morning.
Fine, sir.
How are you doing, Obaid?
Very well, sir. Thank you. And just for unmuting me and getting a chance to talk.
Yeah. Thank you. Your question, please.
I would like to know about the certification about this course.
Okay. Next. Anything more?
No, nothing else. This after this completing the course, I would like to this.
You want to appear for certification, right?
Yeah.
I already have mentioned in this day 1. So this training is suitable for solutions architect associate level.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Solutions architect associate level. Okay.
Okay.
So this training is based on this particular course.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything more?
No, I have just completed my MCSE course.
Okay. Okay.
So it will help me in this also.
Yeah.
By moving AWS.
Definitely. Obaid.
Yeah. So are you providing the certificate?
You have, after this training, you need to prepare. I'll be providing dumps.
Okay.
You have to prepare. You have to be perfect in the subject, and you need to prepare for the dumps, and you need to appear yourself. You need to book a slot, and you need to appear the exam online. Obaid. If you clear the exam, you will get AWS certified solutions architect. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
It's not we providing it.
Okay.
We provide a course completion certificate from our training institute. That's okay. Okay. But if
Okay.
you want to become AWS Certified Solutions Architect Associate level, then you need to book the slot. The cost
Okay.
of the paper will be approximately 10,000 to 11,000. Okay, you need
Okay.
to appear it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mehtab Rosa.
Yeah, hi Sunil, good morning. Yeah, I just wanted to, I don't have any questions, but the space of the course is very good and the content you are delivering is awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that.
Thank you, Mehtab. Thank you very much. Thank you for your appreciation. I always try to meet up your expectations. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Any technical questions, Mehtab? Everything is okay?
Yeah. Actually, the pace and the agenda every day you are meeting, that is nice.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your compliment. Thank you very much. Okay. So let's move on. We are done with step 1, step 2, both the EC2 machines. Let's independently test the EC2 machines. And then the first web server is already tested. I want to take the public IP of the second EC2 machine. I want to test it independently, whether it is perfectly responding or not. You can see my Google 2. So both the EC2 machines are perfectly responded. Testing is done. The next thing is to create a component called as load balancer. And then we will be attaching these two machines to the load balancer, and then we'll be experiencing how exactly the load balancer will work. Okay, proceed. Load balancer. Okay, how to create a load balancer? In the EC2 dashboard, scroll down. Can you see here we have an option of load balancers? You can see we do not have any load balancer right now. There are no load balancers. We are going ahead and creating a new load balancer. Create load balancer. There are different types of load balancers. One is for application server, that is for network, that one is gateway. Ours is for web servers. For web servers, we go for classic load balancers. For web applications, we go for classic load balancers. Okay, so go with classic load balancer. What's the name of the load balancer we are planning to create? Load balancer name can be anything. It can be your name also. I'm naming it as my LB. What is the name of the load balancer? My LB is the name of the load balancer. Name can be anything. Name can be your name also. That's fine. Next. I select an existing security group. We already have created, I think, the name of the security group is, we can select an existing security group. The name of the security group is Linux SG14. Agree, isn't it? So Linux SG14. So I'm selecting an existing load balancer. Next. Configuring the health check. This is very important. I said that it is a responsibility of the load balancer to monitor the health. So how it monitors the health is depending upon the options you mention here. This is very important from the interview point of view. Response timeout. Response timeout. I mentioned the value as 2 seconds. Response timeout, I mentioned the value as 2 seconds. What does that mean? How does load balancer will monitor the health? How does load balancer will monitor the health of the EC2 machines? Load balance by sending a ping request. Do you know that in networking, one machine is connected to other machine is verified by using a ping request, isn't it? So here also load balancer will send a ping request to the EC2 machine, and it should get a reply. It should get a response to the EC2 machine. Okay, so that's the reason the protocol which is used for configuring the health is ping request, ping protocol. Response timeout is nothing but when load balancer will send a ping request, and it should wait for how many seconds to get the response, to get the reply? Should it wait for 1 minute for the response? Should it wait for 1 hour to get the response? Should we wait for 10 minutes to get the response? Should we wait for 1 minute for the response? How many minutes the load balancer should wait to get the response from the EC2 machine? I'm mentioning it as 2 seconds. Once the ping request is sent, the load balancer will wait for 2 seconds. Within 2 seconds, the EC2 machine should reply to the load balancer saying that, hello, load balancer, I'm healthy. Response timeout is nothing but the 2 seconds. That's the waiting time by the load balancer to get the reply or to get the response. Next, interval. I said that the load balancer should monitor the health. I said that the load balancer should monitor the health, fine. But how frequently we should monitor the health? Once in every 1 day? Once in every 1 hour, it should monitor the health. Once in every 30 minutes. What is the frequency? That's called interval period. The interval period is nothing but 5 seconds. I mentioned the interval period as 5 seconds. That means every 5 seconds, my load balancer should check whether the EC2 machine is responding or not by sending a ping request. The frequency. Load balancer should monitor the health, but how frequent it should monitor the health? Once in every 1 hour, once in every 1 minute. I want my load balancer should monitor the EC2 machine health every 5 seconds. Unhealthy threshold, I mentioned it as 2. Unhealthy threshold, I mentioned it as 2. You may have a question, Sunil, what do you mean by unhealthy threshold? Look at this. Load balancer will send a ping request and wait for how many seconds? 2 seconds, because you have mentioned the response time at as 2 seconds. You should wait for 2 seconds. Within 2 seconds, the EC2 machine should reply saying that I am healthy. Let's say after 2 seconds, it waited for 2 seconds, there's no response from the EC2 machine. When there is no response from the EC2 machine, load balancer should give one more chance by sending one more ping request. Let's give one more option. Maybe one more chance it will load balancer will give by sending the ping request second time. It will perform one more attempt. If the second time also the EC2 machine is not responding, then the load balancer will declare it as unhealthy. Are you understanding? It should check for second time also. That means number of attempts the load balancer should perform before declaring it as unhealthy. First time it will send the ping request. If it is not responding, load balancer should attempt the second time. If second time also the EC2 machine is not responding, then the load balancer will declare it as unhealthy. Got it? That is nothing but unhealthy threshold is nothing but number of attempts the load balancer should perform should send a ping request before declaring it as unhealthy. Two attempts. Healthy threshold also I mentioned it as 2 attempts. What does that mean? Let's say as an AWS engineer, you have connected to EC2 machine and you have troubleshooted the issue. Now the EC2 machine is responding fine. Okay, now your EC2 machine is responding, is now perfectly working fine. Again, load balancer, as you know, the frequency is 5, as I'm mentioning your interval as you have mentioned the interval as 5 seconds. After 5 seconds, again load balancer will send the ping request. Let's say EC2 machine is now responding because you have troubleshooted, it is responding. Should it declare it as healthy? Second time also it will send one more time. It will check whether second time also your EC2 machine is responding or not. If the second time also it is responding, then okay, then load balancer will declare it as healthy. Number of attempts the load balancer should perform before declare it as healthy. First time if you're getting response, immediately it will not declare it as healthy. It will also give one more chance. Second time also if it is responding, then it will declare it as healthy. Unhealthy threshold. Number of attempts the load balancer should perform to declare it as unhealthy. Healthy threshold. Number of attempts the load balancer should perform to declare it as healthy. Response time or the waiting time by the load balancer to get the response or reply 2 seconds. Interval. How frequently the load balancer should monitor the health? Every 5 seconds. What is a protocol for health check? Ping protocol. And what file it should check for. By default, it will generally index.html always, and it will be running on port number 80. So don't worry about the previous settings. These are the important interview question options about configuring. How do you configure the load balancer health check? I hope I'm very clear in explaining you each and option behind the configuring the health check. Let's proceed. Look at the next option. Add EC2 machines. How many EC2 machines you want to add it to the load balancer? These are the 2 EC2 machines, machine 1 and machine 2. These are the 2 machines which I'm attaching to load balancer. Next, tags. I don't want to have any tags. Click on review the load balancer details. Click on create. We are done with creating the load balancer. You get a message saying that successfully created load balancer. What is the name of the load balancer? My LB. We are done with creating a load balancer. Okay, the most important point in the load balancer is the configuration details, health check. How does load balancer configure the health check? The response timeout, the frequency interval, unhealthy threshold, healthy threshold. These are the important points. Now your load balancer is created, and how many missions are attached to the load balancer? 2 missions are attached to the load balancer. Correct? Perfect. Now let's experience the load balancer. How do you experience the load balancer? So from my personal laptop, I want to experience the load balancer. So look at this. Request will go to load balancer only. Request will not directly go to EC2 machines, isn't it? Request will never, in case of load balancer, request will never directly go to EC2 machine. First, the request will go to a load balancer. Let's say I'm a user, I want to access my application. So application is behind the load balancer. So first load balancer will receive the traffic. So let's experience it. So how can we access the load balancer? By using the DNS name of the load balancer. This is the load balancer which you have created. Pick up the DNS name of the load balancer, copy, and then access the load balancer from my browser. Please experience. I am accessing the load balancer. So load balancer should request, and then it should distribute the traffic to the EC2 machines. Why you get, what is you're getting? You're getting my Google 2. My Google 2 is nothing but second EC2 machine, my dear friends. The request is gone to second EC2 machine. I click on refresh. Now we are getting my Google 1. That means load balancer is distributing. When I click on refresh again we are getting my Google 2. My Google 1, because the content is different. For my Google 1 is nothing but the first web server. My Google 2 is the second web server. Are you experiencing? The moment you click on refresh, it's up. It distributes the traffic. It is very obvious. I have shown you practically what exactly the load balancer will do. We will be accessing the load balancer using the load balancer DNS name. I am sending the load balancer DNS name in the chat box. I am sending the load balancer DNS name in the chat box. Pick up the load balancer DNS name from the chat box and copy that particular load balancer DNS name from your personal laptop or from your personal mobile phone. Open your Google Chrome and access the load balancer. Click on refresh a couple of times. You will also experience how exactly load balancer is receiving the traffic and distributing the traffic to the targets. Okay, clear? Is this clear? I already have send the load balancer DNS name in the chat box. Pick up the load balancer. Are you experiencing the concept of load balancer? Is your in your laptop? Are you experiencing how exactly load balancer is distributing the traffic to the targets? If yes, type yes in the chat box. If the concept is clear, please type yes in the chat box. Yes, perfect. Beautiful. So that's how it happens. So load balancer is distributing the traffic, and you can see how exactly it is distributing the traffic. Okay, let's stop the chat. Let's stop the chat because there's something more to be discussed. Next point. How many EC2 machines are attached to the load balancer? How many EC2 machines are attached to the load balancer? You may have a question, Sunil. We already have created 2 EC2 machines. It's obvious that 2 EC2 machines are attached to the load balancer. Here we have instances tab. From the load balancer also, you can see the go to instances tab. You can see number of instances. Instances is nothing but, I'm sorry. You can see instances tab. In the instances tab also, you can see how many instances are attached to the load balancer. It is very obvious. It is very obvious that in the instances tab, you can see there are 2 instances. Both the instances are perfectly in service. In service is nothing but perfectly running. So these are the, so whenever you want to know how many instances are attached in the load balancer, you can go to instances tab, and then you can see how many instances are attached to the load balancer. Okay, next. If one server is down, it should router the traffic to the second server. Agree or not? Isn't it? If one EC2 machine is down, end user should request should be directed to second EC2 machine. So what I'll do, wantedly, let's make a failure. Let's simulate the failure scenario. Let's wantedly make the first EC2 machine down. How can you make the first EC2 machine down? Go to instances. We have 2 machines, right? Machine 1 and machine 2. So I'm selecting the first machine. Wantedly, what I'm doing, I'm stopping the EC2 machine. I am stopping the first machine. You can see I'm stopping the first machine. As you know, load balancer should regularly monitor the health. As the first machine is stopped, load balancer will not get the response from the first machine. It will attempt one more time. It will not get the response from the second machine. Then as we are not getting the response from the first machine, load balancer will detect as unhealthy. Load balancer will detect as unhealthy. Let's wait. Stopped. Load balancer will detect as unhealthy. As now it detects as unhealthy, it will not distribute the traffic to the first EC2 machine. Obviously, it will distribute the traffic to the second EC2 machine. Now, if you click on refresh, you will not get my Google one. You always get my Google 2. Refresh. See, are you getting my Google one? Tell me. Are you getting my Google one? Reload. Refresh. You are not getting my Google one because my Google one is down. The load balancer is distributing the traffic to second EC2 machine. So you're not getting my Google one, you're always getting my Google 2. So that's how load balancer will detect as unhealthy. You can also see the status of the particular machine. Load balancer, number of instances, 2 instances, and you can see the first instance machine is out of service. Load balancer is declared as out of service. So that is the reason only one target is responding. So all the traffic is directed to only that particular possible traffic, so that finally end user will not have downtime. If one machine is down, obviously the request will go to second EC2 machine. So finally there will be no downtime. Okay, let's say I start the EC2 machine again. The moment it starts the EC2 machine again, it will be up and running. So load balancer will, as we know, the frequency is every 5 seconds. It will send the ping request. Now the EC2 machine will respond. Second time it will send the ping request. Second time also it will respond. So as 2 times it is responding, load balancer will again mark it as healthy. Now your load balancer distribute the traffic to both the EC2 machines. That's what I want to experience it now. Okay, so let's wait for the first EC2 machine to be started. So meanwhile, let's have an interaction. I hope very clear what exactly load balancer will do. So load balancer uses, you may have a question. One more point I want to discuss. How are we accessing the application? We are accessing the application using load balancer DNS name. Agree? My dear friends. As we know, we are not connecting to EC2 machine. We are accessing the load balancer DNS name. Okay. So most of the clients who are having their infrastructure on AWS, they will have definitely load balancer to avoid the downtime. So we are connecting to load balancer. Load balancer will distribute the traffic to EC2 machines. But you may have a question. Most of the participants are having a question. You may have a question. Sunil, generally we access the application using the domain name www.facebook.com. Is it? Okay. So generally we access the application using the domain name. Okay, but here we are accessing the application using the load balancer DNS name. But practically, do you think any websites like having like this? Do you think Amazon or Flipkart will have? Flipkart will have load balancer, but how are we accessing the Flipkart? How are we accessing the application? Not by using this kind of my and hyphen lb hyphen double. So this is not user friendly, right? So what we will do, we will buy a domain name. We practically in the real time, what happens is they buy the domain name and then we link the domain name. We link the domain name to. Yes, you are right. We link the domain name to load balancer DNS name. So this is domain name. And we link the load domain name to load balancer. And then users like us will access the application using the domain name. It will be directed to load balancer. How do we link? How do we link the domain name to load balancer? That is possible by using a service called as Route 53. In AWS, we have a service called as Route 53. In Route 53 service, I'll show you how can we link the domain name to load balancer so that you don't need to remember the load balancer. This is not at all user friendly. So end users access the application using the domain name that will be automatically forwarded to the load balancer. This can happen using Route 53. When we learn about Route 53, I'll show you how can we link the domain name to the load balancer DNS name. Okay. So as of now, I hope you are understanding most of the clients, not most of the clients, all the clients have load balancer to avoid the downtime of the application. I hope the first machine is now responding perfectly. Now if I access, click on refresh, I should get my Google one. Now you can see my Google one I'm getting, and again I'm getting my Google 2. So now it is properly responding. And I can also see that in the load balancer, go to instances. Previously one was out of service, now both are in service. So load balancer detected as healthy. Again, it is now working fine, and load balancer distributing the traffic. I hope you have clearly understand how exactly load balancer will accept the traffic and distribute the traffic to targets. Okay, clear about this? Any question? Okay, let's have an interaction. Is this clear, my dear friends? Please respond in the chat box. Is this clear how exactly load balancer will work and load balancer will distribute the traffic to the targets? Thank you for your responses. Thank you for your responses in the chat box. Every session is important. Tomorrow's session is about auto scaling. That is advanced concept to load balancer. My dear friends, every session will be adding something new. Do not neglect any session. Okay, right from day one, every day we are adding up each and every concept. So let's stop the chat so that I can have an interaction with the participants. Obviously, cannot with all the we cannot be with all the participants. Some of the participants. Okay, so let's have an interaction. Venuswamy.
Sunil.
How are you, Venu? I can hear you.
I'm fine. In the last class, you told me that using 50 we can connect the machine. But when I'm connecting the machine, I am getting a error message called disconnected, no support or authentication methods available. Servers.
Okay, is this your office machine which you're trying?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
in a domain machine.
Okay, so your office firewall settings will sometimes stop
Okay.
external infrastructure. Okay.
Okay.
Try to do it from your personal laptop if possible.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
Venu.
you.
Anything more?
Thank you. No, nothing.
Clear about whatever we are learning?
Yeah, I'm able to connect with the web page.
That's it.
That line is
Okay,
mentioned.
fine.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Any clear about the concepts, Venu? Whatever we are learning?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pavan Kumar, how are you doing?
Fine, sir.
Yes.
So first of all, congratulations, sir, for providing a free content,
Thank you.
which is so useful for a lot of people.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Sir, I think so. This is on 4th session, sir.
Yeah, you are right. I think this is the 4th session. Yes, you are right.
Yes, sir. You are providing a very good content.
Any technical question?
Nothing, sir. I have understood.
Specific to okay. Thank you very much. Please be regular and do hands-on. That's the only thing what I expect. Okay, to get the best of the rate.
Sir, will you share that note, sir?
No, it is shared only to the paid candidates. The recordings and notes, PowerPoint slides, and certification dumps. All these all these things will be notes, recordings, dumps, and the PowerPoint slides will be shared for the participants who are paid 999 rupees. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Pavan. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Hemant Kumar Bitra.
Yeah, hi Sunil. Good morning.
Hello, Hemant. Good morning.
Are you able to hear me properly?
I can hear you properly.
First of all, thank you very much for the wonderful sessions actually. So what I'll directly ask my queries like we are hitting the servers, right? So at a time, how many hits it will take? Like worldwide, many people using, right? So if we hit 2000 users, we are having in our class.
Okay.
With 2000 users hit at a time.
Okay.
How it will work?
Okay. Now, first point. That means your question is, what is the capacity of the servers? Can it handle 2000 concurrent users? Can it handle 5000 users? Can it handle 10,000 users? What is the capacity of the web servers which you have just now created? Isn't it, Hemant? Okay. Yes. The capacity or the capacity of the servers is dependent on the hardware configuration of the EC2 machines. Okay. These EC2 machines are T2 micro instances. They are nothing but very minimum hardware, isn't it, Hemant? It is coming with 1 GB RAM and 1 CPU. So, but for this particular machines, it cannot handle much load. Okay. Clear? Okay. But practically, the real-time servers will be 64 GB RAM. Every server will have 64 GB RAM, 32 GB RAM. Okay. And the applications are not just Hello or My Google applications. There will be very big applications. Okay. How can we monitor? How can we monitor the performance of the servers? How much traffic is there? That is possible by using the monitoring tool, Hemant. Okay. We have special monitoring tool. Using the monitoring tool, you can monitor the traffic to that particular web servers. We'll see it soon when we're learning about monitoring services as well as VPC service. Okay. Clear, Hemant?
Yeah, okay. Excellent. And one more query, like while we are doing hands-on, no, we have seen that one more thing, like some terminate instance, like annoyingly, one of my friends have terminated the instance. Is there any possibility to bring up that one?
No, once the instance is terminated, it's permanently lost. Okay. Now, for example, and very important, deletion process is also very, very important. whatever we have created for practicing, you have to delete it. My dear friends, please experience the deletion process. So first thing what we have to do is to avoid the bill, we have to remove the instances. I want to remove these instances permanently. Machine 1 and machine 2, these two are running. Go to instances, actions, instance state, stop whenever you want, and you can restart it. If you don't want the instances permanently, there's something called terminate. Terminating is nothing but removing the instances from the dashboard permanently. I don't want these instances. I can remove it when it is running also. So when please, deletion process is also important. First, remove the EC2 machines which we have attached to the load balancer. This will take one minute for the machines to be removed. Once the machines are removed, then we have to remove the load balancer also. Anything more, Hemant?
Yes, like one more thing, like is there somehow we are
Terminated
using free
instances
tier
we cannot
application, right?
recover.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. One more thing, like we are using free tier. By using free tier, is there any maximum limit of instances to be created?
You can use 300 hours in 1 month is a limitation. Okay. Number of hours is
Okay.
300 hours per month. Okay. Okay, if you practice daily 1 hour also, it will go to 30 hours, isn't it? So you can practice a lot. This is the 300 hours of EC2 instances are free for a period of 1 month. If you use more than 300 hours, then you will be getting a bill. Okay.
Okay, so the number of instances to be created not having any capacity, like any limit. So I can create m number of instances within 300 hours, but anyhow, no, after using that one, no, we need to terminate that one once those are
better to terminate it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Sunil. Thank you so much.
Sushma Saini.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Sushma. How are you doing?
Fine, sir.
Before you asking a question, please observe both the machines are terminated. The next thing what we need to do is to remove the load balancer. Here we have an option of load balancer. Select the load balancer. Actions, there's an option called delete.
Yeah, sir.
On delete
Sir,
load balancer.
I don't have any doubt, but I have a question that I joined your WhatsApp group, so many WhatsApp group, but all are full.
Today WhatsApp group I have sent you, right, Sushma?
Okay, sir. Sir, can you give notes of these sessions?
Did you join today's WhatsApp group of this particular batch?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so we have experienced the concept of load balancer, okay, which is very, very important. So please do hands-on, and in the interview, you have to use this terminologies, my dear friends. Terminology is important. You have to use this terminologies. Load balancer will accept the incoming traffic from the clients. Okay, healthy targets, monitoring the health. All these are very, very important terminologies to have the interview effective. You may know the concept, but how are you delivering the concept is very, very important. So you have to do some homework to make sure that you use the proper terminologies. We have discussed about the load balancer today. So what's our plan for tomorrow's session? Tomorrow's is advanced concept where we're discussing about the concept of auto scaling. Very, very important. What is auto scaling? Why exactly auto scaling is used by the clients, and a very important example of auto scaling. That's our plan for our tomorrow session. Before ending, couple of more interactions. Adesh Savant.
Hello, good morning, Sunil.
Good morning, Adesh. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Actually, I'm eagerly waiting for your next batch session for DevOps.
We are starting next week. You get the updates. DevOps, we are starting on 21st.
Okay, 21st.
The timings, I'll update you in the WhatsApp group.
Okay. In the same WhatsApp group or?
In this group, you get the updates about the next batch.
Okay, and I have a question about termination of instance. So suppose I have kept that instance for 12-15 days. Is it going to be billable or?
Stopped instances are also billable. Okay. Because anyways, you have allocated 1 GB RAM to the EC2 machine, whether it is using or not, whether it is running or not, it is billable. Generally, many participants will have a wrong assumption that stopped instances are not charged, but it's always good to terminate. Okay. Once you are done practicing, please terminate the instances. Okay.
Okay.
In
And,
case, better to terminate it whenever you want, and whenever you want, you can recreate the instance. Just a 2 minutes task, isn't it, Adesh? Okay.
Yeah.
Please
Okay.
terminate the instances after practicing.
Okay. Thank you and congratulations to providing this effort.
Thank you, Adesh. Okay.
Thank you.
One more final call with the, I think, overseas participant, Roger Cabo. How are you doing? It's been a long time we had a talk, Roger. I can see your hand raised.
No, the hand is low. Yeah.
How are you?
Yes. I'm fine, Sonny. How you doing?
Doing well. How is your weekend?
Oh, it was good.
Yes, your question.
No, I don't have any question. I
How
kind
is
of
today's
low.
session?
Excuse me?
How is today's session?
No, the session is it was good, and as far as I'm concerned.
Any technical questions from your end?
No, I don't have any question right now.
Thank you, Roger. Please
Thank
continue
you.
attending my sessions and get the best of the training. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you all. I hope you have enjoyed the session today. See you tomorrow where we go with auto scaling. Bye, everybody. Thank you very much.